Kathy Tapley-Milton, our featured author of the evening, who will read to us her newly published book, The Adventures of Sir Lancelot the Cat.
Okay, this is hot off the press. It's by me and illustrated by Francesca de Sacco from Italy. And it's The Adventures of Sir Lancelot the Cat. This is the real Sir Lancelot here.
Wow. That's adorable.
Very adorable.
And he has since passed away, unfortunately. But his book is in his memory. So, Sir Lancelot the Cat, Loved at Last, Chapter 1. Sir Lancelot is an orange cat. Before Kathy owned him, he walked the streets of Sackville, cold and always hungry. He ate out of garbage cans and had to run out of the way of cars. Some people were very bad to Lancelot. They kicked him, and they wouldn't give him anything to eat. Things got so bad that the town of Sackville took Sir Lancelot to the SPCA, that is, the Society of Prevention of Cruelty to Animals. So you see the illustration here. Lance is eating out of garbage cans. And when Lancelot was there at the SPCA, they gave him the plain name Cody. Every day a lot of people looked into Lancelot's cage at the SPCA, but nobody wanted Lancelot. He was very, very skinny, and his orange fur was falling out in clumps. He would stick his paw out of the cage and ask to be taken home with someone, but he did not have any luck. He was a very sad cat indeed. And here he is.
That's sad.
One day, Kathy, who lived in Sackville, felt very lonely, and she wanted to look for a cat to be her friend. She ended up at the SPCA and looked at many cats. Kathy did not like any of them, and she was ready to give up and go home. However, her eyes saw something orange in the corner. She poked her finger in the cage, and an orange paw reached out and touched it. One of the SPCA workers took Lancelot out of the cage, so Kathy could look more closely at him. He was very happy to have someone look at him at last. Kathy said, "He's the one I want." She named him Sir Lancelot because she felt he was a very brave and smart cat. Lancelot was very happy with his good luck. He was getting a real home. Kathy lived in an apartment on Jones Avenue, and Lancelot at first found it hard that he was not allowed outdoors. He used to sit in the window to look out, but after a short time he became very happy to stay in. Kathy brushed his fur every day, and he got good food and water. When he was sick, Kathy took him to the vet. Lancelot now had lots of cat toys to play with, and he slept on Kathy's soft bed. He was very grateful and purred every time Kathy picked him up. There was a lot to explore in the apartment. Lancelot got into the cupboards and even learned to open the doors himself. Sometimes Lance was bad. He dug soil out of Kathy's plants, took books off the bookshelf, and liked to chew things he wasn't supposed to chew. But even though he was being bad, Kathy still loved him, and they were great friends. See? He's happy. Each morning, Lancelot meowed for Kathy to get out of bed, because he hated being separated from the one who saved him. He liked to snuggle and purr and sit on Kathy's shoulder while she was on the computer. Lancelot enjoyed watching the computer change screens when Kathy was on the internet. He knew that he was a very lucky cat. In the past, he would have starved to death while on the streets, but today he knew he was the most loved cat in Sackville, perhaps the whole world. Now, Chapter 2, Lance Enjoys Christmas. "What is this coming?" Lancelot the cat thought. Through the door came this thing that was large and green and smelled like the forest. Kathy pulled it through the door, trying hard to get in, and Lancelot sniffed. It smelled like the outdoors. and was prickly on his nose. "Get out of the way of the Christmas tree," Kathy scolded Lance. With great interest he watched as the tree from Frosty Hollow was put on a stand and given water. Lancelot lapped at the water under the tree, even though he had lots of water in his dish. "This thing might turn out to be fun to play with," thought Lance. Then suddenly he took a run at the tree and went straight to the top. "Oh, what a feeling! I can see everything," Lancelot thought with pleasure. Then Kathy got angry and said, "You bad cat, get down out of that tree." Lancelot wouldn't get down because he was a stubborn cat and he liked to get his own way. Kathy got a ladder and pulled Lance out of the tree.
Are there any pictures, Kathy?
There's Lance enjoying Christmas.
Up the tree.
The next morning Lancelot came out and saw pretty packages under the tree. He was excited and took his teeth and pulled on the wrapping paper. It was a printer for Kathy. Now he found a present for himself, a catnip mat. He rolled on it, licked it, and then lay down for a cat nap. He had a dream of having a room full of Christmas trees where he could jump from one to the other. In this dream, he saw his own private tree decorated with kitty treats and catnip. When he woke up, Lance stretched and yawned and went to rub his face on Kathy's leg. "Well, you seem to enjoy Christmas, Lancelot," she said. "Meow," he said, which in cat language meant, "Yes, indeed." Now, chapter 3, Sir Lancelot gets lost. One day, Kathy, Lancelot, the cat's owner, left the door to her apartment open when she was putting out the garbage. Lancelot, feeling like being bad, poked his head out the door and looked both ways. Soon he went down the length of the hall and ran down the stairs. "Lancelot, come back!" Kathy yelled, but he put his ears flat back and raced away. He was very curious to know what it was like outside in the town. At first, Lancelot was afraid because he was used to being indoors. Outside, there were so many sights, smells, and sounds. Cars were rushing by and crows were cawing on Salem Street, up by Mount Allison University. He was free at last and felt both excited and scared. Out in the parking lot, Lance saw a huge black cat with green eyes. It seemed like a Halloween cat. He immediately jumped at Lancelot, growling and hissing. Lancelot ran as fast as he could go. He hadn't expected trouble so soon. Lancelot outran the fierce black cat and sat under a bush, trying to get his breath. Soon the sun went down and it was dark. Lancelot was very frightened. He was cold and he was hungry. He wished he had not run away from Kathy. In the grass, he saw Mother Skunk and her children. She came up to Lancelot, and they touched noses. Soon Lancelot found himself playing tag with the baby skunks, and he was having fun. Before morning, the skunk family went away, and Lancelot was left alone again. Next, a big white dog saw Lancelot and started barking loudly. Lancelot tried to run away, but saw a high fence that was in his way. What was he going to do? The dog growled and jumped at Lancelot. "Meow!" growled Lancelot, which meant, "Somebody help me." Suddenly a man ran up to the dog and shouted, "Get back!" The animal obeyed. Lancelot was safe. The dog went away with his tail between his legs. The kind man picked Lancelot up. "Well, where did you come from, Orange Kitty? You certainly are a pretty cat, and you appear to be well looked after." Soon the man found Lancelot's pet tag. It has his name and Kathy's phone number on it. The man took Lance into his house on York Street and phoned Kathy. "You own a cat with a funny name like Sir Lancelot?" the man asked. "Yes, I do. I've been worried sick about him," said Kathy. "Well, I have him here with me. I'll come right away and pick him up. Where do you live?" asked Kathy. "I live on 52 York Street up by the graveyard," replied the man. So Kathy got Lancelot's cage and drove in her car to the man's house. "Oh, Lancelot, you are a naughty cat," said Kathy, "but I love you anyway," she exclaimed as she hugged and kissed him. So Lancelot came back home in Kathy's arms. He was very hungry and tired, and he thought that running away from home had been a bad idea. First he had something to eat, then a long, long nap because he was so tired. Later, Kathy brushed his fur, which had become dirty. He was so glad to be back with Kathy that he jumped up on her lap and kept rubbing her with his cheeks and purring. He realized he was indeed a lucky cat to have such a nice home. Sir Lancelot thought, "I'll never run away again," and he never did.